My name is Luciana Pierangeli. I'm a wellness coach. I'm a holistic health transformational coach. I look at health as a spectrum, and within these 4 pillars: physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. And my favorite word is balance. So my aim is to gain balance in these 4 pillars. Welcome to this chat, 5 days talking about emotions. And as I was saying, the intention of these talks is to get awareness on and find definitions, another point of view, another angle of what emotions are. This is a little bit what we spoke yesterday. And the intention of awareness of our own emotions and what can we do with them. So get comfortable. We want to all get comfortable with our emotions so we can actually work with them and not against them or having them pushing us. Emotions, they have their own mind as well, if we allow it. Okay, see, more people are joining. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna create a personal manifesto that you're gonna take with you and you can work with it. And that personal manifesto is a tool of awareness with your own emotions that you're experiencing right now. What are emotions? We spoke yesterday. Emotions, literally from a Latin root, means energy in motion. And as such, they have they're neutral, okay? Once we give meaning to a situation, we label the situation, we create a feeling, and it's either an expanded or a contracted feeling. And this is how emotions, that's how we can create emotions that are either expanded or contracted. This is what we discussed yesterday. So I was showing like this. Here are the emotions. Here is the meaning. The situation is impartial, neutral. What we said yesterday, the situation was end of high school, going to university overseas. Situation, neutral, information. Jade was excited. Yes, overseas, new people, new language, new room, my own rules. Great. Same situation. Sally was like, what I'm going to do? I don't know anyone. I'm going to miss my parents. I'm going to miss my room. Same situation, but one person is expanded and excited, joyful, and the other one is sad, maybe worried, maybe fearful. And how did this happen? The situation is the same, but as soon as one person gives meaning to the situation, it takes either a positive or a negative connotation, or energy in this case. And how do we give meaning to situations? We use our thoughts. So we have our emotions and our thoughts. So through our thoughts, we give meaning to a situation that is neutral, and that's how we create emotions. This is very powerful. We said this is very powerful because if we can give meaning to a situation is neutral, we have the power of choice. By us choosing our thoughts, this is what we discussed yesterday. If we have the power of choosing our thoughts, we have the power of giving meaning to a situation, and we have the power to manage the flow. We said energy is flow. It's the flow in the body is that life energy, the life force energy. Okay, so this is the angle that we are taking to discuss emotions. And we also spoke about the scale. Neutral is 200. Is David Hawkins created these human emotion scales. Just for your information, if you want to find out, everything under 200 is a contracted emotion, and anything over 200 is expanded emotion. And these 5 emotions that we are looking at in this case, told me. Guys, if you can please mute yourself, I will really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So this week we are looking at 5 emotions, and I brought in the traditional Chinese medicine and the theory of the 5 elements, because the basic emotions in the traditional Chinese medicines are sadness, worry, anxiety, fear, and anger. So I brought them because through the 5-element theory, we can link these emotions to, they're linked to the elements, the basic 5 elements of this material world, which are metal, earth, metal, we saw it yesterday, earth, we are seeing it today, fire, water, and wood. And so we're talking about emotions, and through this theory of the elements, we can connect also to our body, because the emotions are paired to 2 main organs. Sadness, that we were looking at yesterday, is linked with the lungs and with the large intestine. So any element, any dis-ease, we are looking for ease of flow. Any dis-ease is a blockage, and if it gets represented, and
my doctor delivered her.
If it gets stuck, the energy gets stuck, there's no flow of energy, and that's when this is created, illness, ailments, challenges in the body. So today we're talking about worry. So this is basically why I brought the Chinese medicine and the 5 elements, just to connect. Also because for a lot of us, it's easier to see the physical through our senses, to see the physical results. I always put my hand like this because we are defining each finger. These are the emotions, these are the thoughts. Remember, thoughts gives meaning, and meaning creates label the emotions, correct? And then this is the result. In this case, we're talking about health. So the result in this case is the illness or health. Could be if you're joy and you're expanded, you have ease of flow, you're healthy. That's great. So this is a quick recap of what we did yesterday. And just to repeat for the people that are joining, I have a question. Are there any basic positive emotions and/or elements? Why are they all negative? Thank you. Okay, thank you for the question. No, they're not all negative. We have, as I said, we have expanded and contracted emotions. Yes, today, for these 5 days, I chose these 5 emotions because they are linked to the body. The idea of traditional Chinese medicine is for healing. So we want to tackle the things that are not right. Yesterday, someone was saying that they wake up with a smile, and that's amazing. So if you wake up with a smile and it's aligned with what you want to do, you're balanced. Great. No need to change. Keep it up. Keep on going. But now, if you wake up with pain every single day of the week, and you can now, through this theory, you can link an emotion or pain, you can link the pain in a certain area of the body to an emotion, you can start looking at it from another point of view. And if your emotion is here, but you want to be here, like if you're angry, and you want to be happy, or joyful, you're not alive. So then this gap needs to be closed. So I hope I'm answering your question. So no, they're not all negative. We call negative anything that is under 200 according to the scale, and positive or expanded. We can call them expansive, or contractive. And as I said, we are only looking at those because we want to change things, transform things that are not working for us right now. And the negative ones or the contracted ones are, if we keep them for long enough, they become stagnant. It's like a river. We were talking about a river. A river needs to flow. Where there's no flow, there's no river. If it overflows, it's not a river anymore either. It's a lake maybe. Or if it overflows so much that everything gets dry, there's not even water. There's no river. Or if there's a big fall, it becomes a waterfall. It's not a river. So we want circulation, like we have our veins and the blood circulates. Great, thank you, Craig. I'm glad it makes sense. So that's the reason we are talking about these emotions. So that's a little bit of a recap from yesterday. And today we're going to speak about worry. Worry is quite a common one because worry is normally in the head. And interestingly enough, worry is linked to the element earth. The earth is grounded. We can think about a tree. A tree has its roots grounded on the floor and stands up and tall. No, we are so worry. When we are worried, we go too much in our head and we are not grounded. Therefore, if we ground ourselves, the worry from our head, our monkey mind, would come down through literally through our feet. Even if we are seated, like now I'm sitting, but I have my soles on the floor and my sitting bones sitting quite straight. So I'm actually grounding right now as well. And worry and this element of earth, and we're talking about grounding, is about grounding stability. You know, we're talking about a tree, stability, stable, strong, powerful, and interesting enough, also powerful. I said powerful, and the organs linked to this emotion of worry is the spleen and the stomach. Okay, these are the two organs that are related. And from a tissue point of view, it's the muscles. And I said power. I don't know if you know about the chakras, but we have the chakras, and the third chakra lies like right on top of the stomach, and it's about our own power, our own self-esteem, is our own being. So this is what I find fascinating about life and stuff, that we can connect, make these connections, to make use of them, you know, to take what we need from different practices. So now we have worry, and I said here worry because we get worried when we think too much, we overthink, and this is actually one of the symptoms, like overthinking. We are not grounded, like we are floating. Yeah, and then another thing, if this worry is linked to the stomach and the spleen, typical ailments or diseases, I like to call disease, could be any abdominal issue, upper abdominal, obviously any stomach thing, stomach ulcers, stomach related, and spleen. The spleen takes in nutrition, and this is very interesting because the spleen is nutrition, and we tend to think about food, and yes, it is food. It also changes the blood and cleans it. It's like a filter, the actual spleen, physically. But what about self-love? That we need to be nurtured with love too. So do we remember these things? Do we apply them? Do we give ourselves self-love? We have, we actually touch the spleen. And we can even go around our stomach. Interesting. So let's look at an example. This was just to give you an idea. So just remember, worry is linked, it's the earth element, and is linked to the stomach, the spleen, and muscles. Muscles as a tissue. Just a reminder, yesterday we saw sadness is linked to the lungs, the large intestine, and the skin. So let's look at an example now for worry. Let's take an example. Let's take actually a personal example. I do discovery calls before I start working with a Transform Me. This is how I like to call them. I'm a coach. Instead of having a coachee, I have a Transform Me, because I don't know if I made up that word, but they transform, and that's my aim. So situation. Remember that we have a situation, and then we give it a meaning. This is how we're working with emotions. So we have a situation. I can ask you to please mute yourself, all of you guys. Thank you so much. So let's look at this situation. Let's call him Peter. We have Peter who filled up the form. I got an email. We met for a discovery call. Great. We had a discovery call. I felt great. It was good. He left and he said, I'll see you next week. This was really eye-opening. I'll see you next week. Great. I'll send you the email with information. Next day, I'll send him the email. I send Peter the email with agreements, with when are we going to meet, how is it going to work, the different packages to choose, with the prices, everything. All right, I send it. Following week, I don't hear anything. End of the week, I wait. Following week, that's almost 10 days. I decided, let me send again an email. Maybe he didn't get it. Maybe it went to the spam folder. Who knows? All right, I send a follow-up email with everything. Great, I continue. Then another week, I don't hear from Peter. What do? We spoke already over the phone, so I had his number and I sent a message. I sent a message and I don't get an answer. This is the third time I contact, I don't get an answer. That's the situation. Meeting people, email, message, no answer. That's the information we have. It's information, right? How many emails do we send? Normally, a lot. Okay, so now it's me. I send that. It's 3-4 weeks later, and I haven't heard from Peter. What do I think? Emotions, meaning, thought. What do I think? Peter didn't like the session. Peter didn't like what I was wearing. Peter didn't like the packages. Peter didn't like the long email that I sent. Peter didn't like me. Thanks for the comments. I'm in the same work situation related. Peter may not be well. Yes. So I just chose to think something, right? To give it a meaning to a situation. And this is the question that I use for worry. So remember this. This is the take-home message for today. So if I make these questions of I say these things, what I just said, this leads to me to think about me, well, my self-esteem, where is it gonna go if I'm a problem, if I'm not good enough? It's self-love, self-esteem is going down, it's contracted. Okay, so what do we do? Because now we are aware and we know, hang on a second, hey, I can give meaning. So what's the question that we ask in this case? The question that we ask is this true? So I ask myself, is it true that he doesn't like me? Is it true that he didn't like the packages? Is it true that he didn't like the session? Is it true that he didn't like how I was dressed? The answer is, I don't know. I don't know. If I don't know, why I'm thinking that I'm not good enough, that my self-esteem should go down if I don't know the answer. Just asking myself this question makes me at least stop. And sometimes you can already balance yourself. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. But yeah, like Peter's phone may have been lost or stolen or not that exactly. Yes, and this is what brings the worry, isn't it? Yes, thank you for commenting. Exactly. So just by asking that question, you can stop yourself from making meaning that does not serve you, because this is the point. We want to make meaning to things that at least serve us, either to learn a lesson. And we said yesterday, contracted emotions are not bad. We need them. Sometimes we need to feel the fear because there's a threat and we need to run away. And that helps us. Maybe anger even helps us to defend ourselves in a difficult situation. Let's remember that we are geared for survival. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Our brain and our body, we have IQ and BQ, is body intelligence and the IQ. And the first thing that it will do is work for us to survive. Otherwise, what's the point? No, I can have so low self-esteem, feel low self-love, but it doesn't matter if I'm gone. So, is this true? Will stop you. Most probably. But now, what can I do a little bit further to balance this? What are the options? Maybe Peter may have lost her phone or stolen or no data, so he cannot reply to me. Maybe Peter didn't get the emails, didn't get the message. Maybe Peter is not ready to commit for a transformation. Maybe Peter is not ready to commit that time that amount of time on himself to work on his challenges. So you see, here it was all me, and actually this would have probably put me down. And this is all about Peter. But the answers to these questions, is this true? I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know any. Maybe he feels ashamed of not answering and draining in guilt. There we go. Do we know? We don't know. Maybe he had a very moment to deal with. Yeah, exactly. The point here is that we don't know. That's really the take-home message. Is this true? If you can certainly 100% answer yes, this is true, that's different. Then we go to the next step. But try it. Bottom line, thank you, Amina. Don't assume what we don't know. And that can take us from this emotion of worry very quickly, very fast. Can stop this monkey, this train very quickly. Is this true? No. Okay, so why are we thinking this? Okay, let's go. But sometimes just that let it go is not enough. So then you can balance it by thinking the opposite in a way. I mean, and this is all your thoughts. That's why it's personal. It's a personal manifesto, because it's all you. So that's one example. So is this true? Let's give another example to take it further. Okay, you have a friend, or I have a friend that tells me repeatedly, you don't share, you don't like to share, you're not sharing your toys, you're not sharing your sweeties, you don't like to share. Constantly. It's your best friend, so it's always telling you that you don't like to share. You're like, what are you saying? Yes, I share. But it's like drilled into you so much that you start thinking, whoa, wait, I don't share. And then you decide, okay, all right, it's making me uncomfortable to think like this, so let's stop for a second. The situation is, I don't share. Okay, I don't share. Is this true? And my friend was telling me, when my friend asked me to lend this toy, this car toy, and I said no. So is it true that I don't share? The answer is yes, because right now I didn't share, and maybe I didn't share because I didn't want to give the car, I didn't want it to get dirty, the germs, or whatever it is. It actually doesn't matter what's the reason. But now I ask this question: is it true? And I answer yes. I just didn't want to share my toy. All right. What do we do now? The next question, because we don't want to be also stuck there. Is this true? Brings discernment. Yeah, well, but let's see, what's the next question? Remember, this is all about meaning. So yeah, instead of judgment, this is all about meaning. So it's all about the questions. We want, as we said yesterday, we want to ask ourselves powerful questions that will help us expand, help us come out of, or start being in flow. So if we ask this question, is this true? And it's something that we are like questioning ourselves, and we say, yes, it's true at this point in time. The next question is it always true? Is it always true that I don't share? And that's when I start again thinking, because we are using our thoughts to give meaning. All right, okay, well, I don't like to share my car, my little toy. I don't want to. So maybe I don't share. But hang on a second. What is sharing? What about sharing? Is it serving me? Yeah, you can, exactly. You can ask any question that serves you, actually. Thank you. But if we continue with this example, is it always true that I don't share? What about time? I love sharing time. I give time to people freely, and time is the most valuable resource that I have, that I value. So I share my time. I share my knowledge. Whatever I learn, I share. That's sharing, right? In my meaning, that's sharing too. So I might not want to share the toy or the car for whatever reason. The reasons doesn't matter. They don't matter right now. But we're talking about the situation. Can we answer now, is it always true that I don't share? No, it's not always true. Then why never matters? Yeah, actually, never and always are actually tricky words that, yeah, actually one of my coaches told me, never use never, never use always, because it's never, and never always. Yes, Antoine. So that this is the idea. This is the idea of how to play with emotions. Emotions are there for a reason. It's energy flowing. It's there to show us something. Maybe I can learn a lesson from this, from whatever my friends are saying, or the messages that I get, or my actions, my behaviors after a thought. And now that I mentioned behaviors, I'm going to add now this. So we have the emotions, right? Emotions, once we give a meaning through the thoughts, meanings, we get the emotions, right? And this is the result, the evidence, the illness, the this is. And this, what are these? These are the habits, the events, what we do, what we don't do, the situation. But I like to call them habits. So basically, we have thoughts plus emotions plus habits give us the result. The result, we're talking about health. So in this case, we're talking about this, about is and this is. So we are focusing on things that bother us or that are contracted, and we want to change. We want to transform. So by changing any of this, you'll change your result. So we're talking about this one quite nicely, and we're using this as well. So this is the awareness of the concept of the theory, but then we want the awareness of the actual emotion that is coming up for each of you. So this is really what I would like to, for me, is like a present, but your own present for yourself, creating this journal. So, and what we were doing, we started yesterday. We have a few people that were there yesterday. Thank you, and I hope you did your homework, because this is for you. So the homework is literally take 3 minutes and ask these at least two questions. How did my day start? And maybe you started with pain, and in a rush you were late. Situation. Okay. I had pain. You can write that way. You had pain. I was in a rush, and that's it. How do you feel about that? How did being in a rush make you feel? Having to run? Overwhelmed? Worried? Anxious? I don't know, maybe sad, maybe fear. It's up to you. So whatever comes up, write it down. And all we want is awareness. We don't want to now try to change it. Don't try to change it. We want awareness, because if we create proper awareness of what's happening with us, we can then work with it and transform whatever needs to be transformed, whatever we want to transform. But for that, we need to know it is. I personally had emotions stuck down there, didn't even see them, didn't even know they were there. Actually, I'll share this because it's related to stomach. I didn't know that every time I had an exam, I had stomach pain. My sister told me. Later, when I was working already, and well, I'm still studying, I'm always studying, but I was already working. I said, yeah, I have stomach pain. And she said, yeah, every time you have an exam, you have stomach pain. I was like, nah. And then she said it again and again and a few times. And then, hey, hang on a second. Let's go back and see the situation. let's go back at the most the exams that were the most important, and how did I feel? And this is how you bring back the emotions. Bring them back to the surface so we can work with them. And we also spoke yesterday, when they're contracted emotions and we keep them for too long, because emotions are energy in motion. And if they're not in motion, they're stuck. And if they're stuck, imagine water that is stuck in a puddle becomes like rotten and it's poison. But water is life, and we need water. But water that is in a bad state is bad for us. And this is the same. There are emotions, as we just discussed, emotions that fear is okay. Anger can even save our lives, so we need them. It's not that we don't want them, we don't need them. It's about managing the flow. We manage the flow. We manage the flow of a conversation. Sometimes if we converse, you speak and then you listen. You speak and you listen. You can manage the flow of anything, of water. We're speaking about money. There's income. How do you manage it? And then there's outcome. It's a flow. There's flow in everything in life. So actually, this can be used for everything. That's the beauty. So that's worry, monkey mind, overthinking, and let's just give a few examples. How can you see it manifested in the body? So we said it's muscles, we said abdominal, stomach. So anything that related to the stomach will be part of worry. So if you have stomach pains very often, okay, you can think, okay, am I worrying about something? You can just take some time to observe and see the meaning that you're giving to that situation. That's really what we need to do if we want to bring it out. So it's stomach, spleen, but also mouth, lips, gums, and teeth. So anything related to any of these organs could potentially be linked to worry. Any gingivitis is inflammation of the gum. Anything, maybe your teeth are very sensitive, like way too sensitive, excessively sensitive to cold or heat. Yeah, any abdominal stomach abdominals, maybe your abs are always sore, and not necessarily because you do a lot of crunches. And also hormonal as well, especially for women. If there's excessive discharge in the period, that could be very linked to worry. What else? Yeah, and other bleeding disorders. Remember that the spleen filters the blood. That's the connection. I really love all these topics because of all the connections. You can connect, you can think, oh yes, that makes sense. And if something doesn't make sense, just leave it, discard it. Maybe it doesn't apply to you, and it's okay. Yeah, that's mainly, that's worry. So thank you for your time again, and I really hope you do your homework, that you did it yesterday and that you do it today, and you do it every day. So at the end of the day, you'll have your personal manifesto, and the last day we're going to do a very 3-minute we're going to like an inner visualization, just to see where we are, because now we're going to know which emotions are predominant and where do we want to go, where do we want to be. Maybe we're here, like I think it was Faz yesterday who said, I wake up with a smile. So then you are there, you don't need to do anything else. But if there's a gap, maybe you can see how you can align yourself and be stable, like, you know, the earth element, stable, powerful, grounded. Earth, yes, grounded. How can you ground yourself? Just by being barefoot, just by placing your you're welcome, placing your soles on the ground. When you're sitting, make sure you change and you really sit on your sitting bones. You're grounded. You can actually visualize that you're walking in a forest barefoot. If you go to the beach and you have your swimming costume, there's more skin. You can lie on the more skin exposed. You are lying on the beach, on the sand. That's direct contact with nature. That's grounded. grounding. Even going inside the water, like submerging, is grounded. Even doesn't really sound like, but because it's water, but it is. It's that connection, that's discharge. Remember, we have this energy is electricity. We are 70% water. We need water for this electricity to make these neural paths. The world, nature has this energy. So when we connect with nature, we discharge what we don't need, and we get what we need. I love hugging trees. That is that connection. Is that exchange with nature. I mean, we are nature. We are literally made up of the same things. We take oxygen and we exhale. When we exhale, we spoke about the lungs yesterday. When we exhale, we also exhale toxins. We purify ourselves, our system, and we breathe involuntary. And our heart beats also. It's done, but for us. Our body is amazing. So it would be great. I mean, this is my thought and this is my thinking, to support my body. My body is supporting me. So I would like to support my body as much as I can. It's a relationship with the body. So yeah, that's me.